G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/legal advice video. Now if you love me as much as I love you, then you know what to do. I want you to mosey on over to that old like button and tackle it like Crocodile Dundee. Maybe even chuck an Aussie flag down in the comments. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good legal advice. Now our first post is by user Homelandish. Titled, Does a child who didn't see one parent because the other parent stole them despite custody orders in place have to repay that time debt after age 18, Oregon? Posting anonymously because I think I know the answer but feel like an idiot asking anyway. I hope I described this clearly. My parents split when I was very young and had shared custody, about 50-50 at the time. My mother ran off with me to Canada not long after, but cancer took her when I was 15. I was taken back to my father, and was always told because I was away from him for 8 years, but he had 50-50 custody, then I had to repay that time debt for 4 years after I turned 18. I took it as just how things are. There was a letter from Dad's lawyer that I haven't been able to find that I had when I came back to him, pointing out I would be a minor until after I turned 22 and a few months. I'm not allowed to leave home much except to work. Dad gets all of my money to support me, I'm not allowed to see guys, I'm not allowed a car, and it seems really unfair to me, and nobody else my age is in this situation. Does any of this seem legally real? The more people I talk to, the more it seems my dad has me under a big con, but I'd like to know for sure. I know it might be trying to prove a negative, but is there a link to a law I could use to show for sure either way? Since nobody has posted a link yet, here. statelaws.findlaw.com/Oregon/law-legal-ages-laws.html. There you go. If you want to look up more information yourself, important keywords are legal majority as opposed to being a minor, adult, financial independence, ability to enter into contracts. I'm sure there are more. Others have already given you plenty of advice regarding getting out of your current situation, resources to help you if you're in danger, etc. It is perfectly legal for you to walk out of the door this minute and just keep on walking. If you're not in immediate danger though, I suggest that you plan your exit carefully and get your resources ahead of time. Your father sounds like he has no respect for your rights or privacy, so it would follow that he might monitor your phone and computer use, search your room, look in your purse, diary, whatever. Please be very careful to keep your preparations a secret from him, because such a controlling man would be much easier to get away from if he were taken by surprise. Best of luck, do the hard things because they're worthwhile in the end. Thank you so much, that's what I was hoping for. Just a word can be a key to more information. I know Dad looks through my stuff, but he is a technological vacuum. That's something at least. I ask about the technical thing to possibly offer some more advice, as how to protect yourself. Do you use iMessage? Make sure he doesn't have your password, as any texts sent between you and someone else may appear on other devices. Make sure if you are suspecting him being able to spy on you, only discuss details of your escape while not on his wireless. Things like that. If you have any questions about the technology portion of evading his Overwatch, please do make note of my username to message me. I may not have all the answers, but I have been a system admin for 10 years. Him being possibly highly technical adds a whole list of potential complications to your situation. Also, contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. They have trained counselors to help you and resources by zip code. Do so anonymously from your library if you think he's tracking you. This situation is insane. You should at very least be operating this Reddit account from an incognito or similar browser. Another user suggests, walk into a police office. This is not crime related, they know stuff. Speak to the nicest looking person sitting at a desk and say, I have a complicated situation and need some advice. Can you help me? That person will likely be able to lead you to resources that will help you, including possibly a pro bono, free attorney. The police are there to help the community as much as they are to fight crime. They have seen this before, they've seen everything, and will know who to call, how to get help, etc. You are a good person, you're smart, to ask questions and seek advice. Take some fatherly advice. Measure twice, cut once. As you go through this, if you don't know the outcome of a given choice/action, measure it again. You are in charge of the decision. Good people are nice, but not all nice people are good. Presume the possibility that a new person is not good, but give everyone the chance to prove it over time through their actions. You are in charge of you. Legally, if you obey the law, nobody has the power to tell you what to do with your body, time, or possessions, period. Dream is to vision is to plan is to become. You can dream to do or be anything you want. If you can get a vision of how you can do it, pursue it. From the vision, make a plan to accomplish it, stick to that plan, and the dream will come true. You likely don't have a lot of money, but you have boatloads of time. If you can't solve something with strength, solve it with patience. You can walk to Peru given enough time and patience, and also a vision-driven plan. You got a bogus starting line for this race called life. That's just a fact. But you get to decide the finish line. A kid smart enough to check something like your original post is gonna succeed. I already believe in you, kid. You have the moves, it's obvious. Believe in yourself, make good decisions, and build the family you wish you had, either traditionally with a spouse, or through extended family with your community. Find joy. Peace. And now we're on to our update. Previous post a month ago over here, I'm safe and I'm out. I organized a place to stay with a coworker. I have new bank accounts and all my paperwork. My dad has some regular sport meetings on Saturday that go for hours, so I prepared everything the week before, found where my paperwork was, and walked out. I've been approved for a rental and I move there soon. I contacted 2 police stations near us beforehand, who both understood Dad's nature straight away when I told them that he'd been telling me I couldn't move out because of a time debt, and they told me that it wasn't a thing. I took copies of all of his paperwork too, because while I was getting ready to move, I found most of what I knew about my parents separating was a lie. There was never a 50-50 custody agreement, and my mother never ran off with me in violation to that. My dad had been held for several domestic violence incidents when I was a child, and he was only to see me on special holidays and only under strict supervision. He's never been violent to me, but in the papers he had hidden was evidence of a trust available to me when I'm 21. Some of these specific wording is it can go to me as an individual, or to my carer if that is required. I think my dad was trying to make himself up as my carer without me knowing. I did not find the letter I read when I was a kid from my dad's lawyer, but like you all said, that was probably fake. After I moved out, my dad did try to contact the police. They came to my coworker's address because they had to, but also let me know that yes, my dad was trying to say I couldn't look after myself. His words were that I was borderline invalid and being abused. That's obviously not the word, but invalid is along the same account, you know? I've been back to Canada to visit my aunts and uncle, and found the auntie who was named to manage my trust died very soon after my mother. We're still working out the details with a Canadian lawyer about some confusion over who handles what and how now, but I have the full support of my remaining aunt and uncle, who are the same great people I remember. They were really worried about me when I went to live with my dad, and had tried to contact me so many times. Thanks for all your help. Your comments gave me the confidence to act. Thanks Reddit, very cool. Alrighty, and our next post is by Unexpected Anxiety Cat, titled Employer Serving Food to Public During Pandemic Has Confirmed Positive Cases and Not Telling Anyone. We're in Texas. My company is serving food to our local community at different locations throughout the city. We come into contact with hundreds of people every day. We are not provided with any masks, only food service gloves as PPE. I had to borrow hand sanitizer from someone, because our company would not provide it. At one of our locations, an employee's significant other tested positive for COVID-19. That employee was then asked to get tested. They also came back positive. This employee worked for 2 weeks preparing meals and serving the community while being infected. My company has chosen to not tell anyone. They finished out the week and then sent everyone home from that location for 2 weeks quarantine, but didn't tell them why. They have already hired a new staff to move to that location to take over next week. The community doesn't know they were previously exposed, the employees for the past 2 weeks don't know, and the one person who does know was told she couldn't tell anyone. She told me because she tells me everything, and she was the site supervisor over there. The company won't pay for her to get tested or anything. I feel like the community and the employees need to know. Can I lose my job if I let health authorities and/or local news know what is going on? What are my options? You need to contact the health department. I am a certified food safety manager, instructor, and proctor through ServeSafe, and I have managed many restaurants. And that's all the legal advice that they got, apparently. Update, I have filed an official complaint with OSHA. New update, boss just sent an email out informing everyone that someone tested positive and that she's done everything according to the health department protocol. She stated that the health department is now allowing her to share the information to everyone. She still hasn't told anyone where it was, and the public still has not been notified. Also, since I posted this, I have been quarantined for being symptomatic, apparently due to the shortage of tests here. I am not in serious enough condition to get tested, so I found out that I will not be getting paid because I did not test positive. Even though I cannot get tested, I am losing my mind. That sucks. Anyway, on to the next post by The Mix 669108. Titled, All Elevators in 6-story apartment building broken due to negligence. Many elderly and disabled living in the building. Is there formal action I can take? I sincerely apologize if this is the wrong sub, just let me know. As mentioned in the title, my 6-story apartment building currently only has stair access because both elevators are broken due to negligence. They haven't worked properly in years. New management moved in 4 months ago and when addressed, said they had no idea the elevators were in need of repair, so it's not their fault or responsibility. But an email sent a month after the management's purchase states that they plan on making much needed upgrades to elevators in the future. There are many elderly and disabled people on upper floors who are either stranded or extremely struggling to use stairs to exit or enter the building. Particularly bad given a pandemic. Management is releasing no updates, but I called the servicing company and directly, and they said it will take weeks. Is there anything that can be done to either force management to make accommodations for these people, or to report the company for housing discrimination now that there are no accommodations for the elderly or disabled? Where is this located? Laws can vary a lot by location, as well as recourse. For example, in NYC, you should call 311 to report. Connecticut. If you can direct me to any sort of home website, I can look up the state. I'm just not sure where to start. It's probably the health department for your city or county. For example, the Bridgeport Health Department. This is great information. I'll try to find the most relevant health department in my area and try to find someone to talk to. It may also be a violation of the fire code. Try the fire chief. And someone else says, I want you to be clear. If it is a violation of the fire codes, it's possible that the residents may be forced to move until the situation is corrected. As an attorney who regularly handles matters like this, I know you want a fast resolution, but sometimes it's literally not possible. The parts may not be available, the repairman may not be available, but if there is a safety issue, people may be forced to leave until it is safe. Be mindful of what you are asking for and the possible consequences. Maybe it's best that the building evacuates, I don't know, but just be aware that is a possibility. This is very good advice. This question may be stupid, but does the management have any responsibility over backup accommodation in cases of necessary evacuation? I don't see anything in my lease, but I doubt it's a comprehensive enough document to address these things. Laws like that are state by state. I am not in your state, so I don't know. But there is just a reality that there is not always a way for a backup to exist. In emergencies, fire departments carry people down. In high-rises, people with disabilities are carried down. Elevators are not working, there's no slide. While it is very frustrating, every conceivable negative scenario cannot be avoided. I work in an 8-story building, 2 elevators. If they go out, it's the stairs for everyone. And there's an update in the post. Update: thank you to everyone for this great advice. With consideration of the comments below, I don't think I'll take it upon myself to be the voice of a few hundred with my lack of legal knowledge. However, using the leads below, I believe I have found the contact information for the most relevant town departments to address the concerns to. and will circulate this information within my community so that those who are directly impacted from a health and safety standpoint have resources readily available. I also will circulate the names, office lines, and emails of the property manager and her on-site employees. This information is public, just difficult to find. That way, when their nurse can't get the in-home dialysis machine up the stairs, they have someone to call. I hope that all sounds reasonable. Alright, and our next post is by user IrishFeet78, titled, "I think my 12-year-old daughter is being groomed online. WA State. My 12-year-old daughter got introduced to Discord, a chat app, by a friend. She has since been involved in some pretty explicit sexual roleplay with what I can only assume are grown men. We have blocked all her access to the internet at home. She's given out our home number in the past, the town we live in, and her full name. She has recently been given a cell phone so that she can reach me during the day while I'm at work. And recently she's given at least one of those men her cell number, and I've discovered some pretty gnarly messages. I've done a reversed phone lookup, and this particular guy seems to be in Ontario. He has told her that he is 18. I'm willing to bet he's older. She needs to be scared straight, and this guy needs to know he's talking to a child. My husband says we need to call the police. I don't even know where to start. Can someone point me in the right direction? I'll be bringing it up to her therapist in the morning." My husband says we need to call the police. Yes, immediately. She needs to be scared straight, and the guy needs to know he's talking to a child. She needs therapy. Scared straight makes for good TV, but it's not how you help the victim of a crime. I guess scared straight isn't the right phrase. Her dad and I have been dealing with this for months. Her getting online when she's specifically been told not to, creating accounts, told her no more Discord, etc. So she's breaking the rules her dad and I have put down, but she's also engaging in risky behavior in addition to the simple rule breaking. Internet is all blocked at home, and now she's just using the phone. Call the NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They will be very interested to hear about this, and will help you much more than we can. Done. Well, I submitted an online report form. I work with youth in South Florida who identified as possible HD human trafficking. Consider also contacting your state's hotline number for human trafficking and report it. An investigator will be assigned, and then usually multiple agencies in the community staff this and create a treatment plan on working with your daughter. 12 is the average age in the US for youth to get involved. Through this process, you can be connected to prevention services to work with her. It's a scary road. Feel free to reach out if you need some help or have some more questions. I strongly encourage you to find appropriate services to work with your daughter for now. I've been doing this for some time and have watched youth continue going. Good luck. Has there been any action to distance herself from the friend too? I feel like that's being overlooked here. There has. I have spoken to his mum, who is a good friend of mine, and described the situation. They are no longer allowed to hang out together. Soliciting a minor is illegal. Even though he hasn't touched her, he has already broken the law. As someone mentioned, you can also buy her a burner phone with minimal features for emergency only. I would like to add something though. Children are extremely resourceful, and suppressing them will generally lead to more sneaky attempts to continue whatever behavior you may have been trying to stave off. She is your daughter and you want to protect her, but she certainly will not see it that way. And as such, it is important to convey the dangers of what she is doing, but also to teach her how to be safe if she proceeds. The absolute last thing a parent wants is their child running away with a stranger. In order to truly address this, you need to treat her like an adult, because it is ultimately up to her to withhold whatever values you try to pass on. First, find documentaries about catfishing and online predators. She needs to understand 1. The danger she is putting herself in, and 2. She needs to be aware of the lies and deceit tactics predators will try to use against her. Next, teach her how to think safe. For example, explain how easy it is for a stranger to pinpoint her location solely based on her name or phone number. One time, a stranger was able to rattle off all my personal information just from using my first name and my profession. Seriously, the importance of minimizing her exposure. The other half of thinking safe? Teach her how to recognize red flags. such as being lured into a non-public setting, using stolen pictures, excuses when the story doesn't add up, etc. Finally, try to identify ways to improve her life. I feel that children fall victim to this behavior because of the attention they are getting that makes them feel special and valued. How can you make your child's life more fulfilling? How can you get her more involved with children her own age, with live activities, and away from the internet scene? Are you spending enough time with her to make her feel valued at home? Etc. And now, update. I have reviewed the entire chat history between my daughter and this guy. It goes on and on and on. She has been participating in video chats with him and sending pictures at his request. They were talking about meeting up in the future so they could have sex. There is some master/slave type conversation as well. Does the fact that there was video and pictures being sent as the BDSM type play change anything? A deputy from my local sheriff's office called me yesterday. He said there's nothing that can be done unless she specifically told him she was a minor/under 16. I can show him pages and pages of chat history where she makes it very clear that she's a kid, and if he met her, he would see that she's definitely not mature enough to pass for over 16 or over 18. And since I know now they've been video chatting, he knows she's not over 16 either. He, like the commenters on my previous post, was more interested in providing parenting advice than addressing my very specific questions. The burden of proof is on the victim, he advised me, and while that may be true in his mind, that does not sit well with me. So I have contacted my county prosecutor directly. I have been in contact with Discord. I have also submitted online reports to the police department in that area where he lives, the FBI, the NCMEC, and the cybercrime tip line for his area. So far, only Discord has responded, and they have been helpful so far. Parenting-wise, since I know you're going to ask, she is allowed to have her flip phone during the day for emergency purposes. There is no more online access at home, she is grounded, but she is grounded for lying to us about accessing websites she was specifically told not to. Not for sex chat. I haven't exploded at her, and neither has her dad. I'm going to discuss the legal ramifications of what she's done with her this afternoon. She needs to know that this was illegal. It's not her fault, she got caught up in it and didn't know. But she also needs to know that she can get in big trouble for this kind of stuff, both legally and physically. This guy isn't her boyfriend. He doesn't have her best interests at heart, and she's one step away from being sold into prostitution. We have an acquaintance who I was just informed was charged with a felony for sending nudes to a guy she met online. She's only a little older than my daughter. The deputy told me to call a child sexual assault advocacy center, so I think I'm going to do that. Update number 2. Just a brief update because I really don't know very much. I spoke to a local detective who works only on child exploitation cases. The Canadian authorities have arrested the man who was communicating with my daughter. I just found this out last week. Other than that, I don't know much else. My daughter is doing quite well. She has some anger and issues with loneliness, but we are working with her therapist to address both of these. She's not been allowed online since, and only has a flip phone with the data shut off, and she's doing really well. And now, final update. He pled guilty and he's being sentenced next month. I'm not allowed to tell you the charges. If you suspect this is happening to your kid or to you, say something to law enforcement. If they don't acknowledge you, keep going until someone does. And I think that's a good way to round off the episode today, guys. Tell me what you thought about this one. It's kind of messed up that people do get in these situations, but yeah, take that advice to heart and do get a lawyer. Always get a lawyer. It's important for you to get a lawyer if you're in these situations, as everyone says in the legal advice sub. Anyway guys, I hope you're having a good night, day, sleep, whatever you're up to. This has been Markee. Tell me what you thought about this one, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!